Let's continue exploring the universe within art and the art behind farming. I'm your host, Amledu, and in this episode, we're going to build an ice farm. This was requested by Sabipa. Thank you so much for leaving a comment and a request. I really hope that you enjoy. Best of all, you can build this at any size. You can make it as long as you want, or you can just straight up duplicate it and have multiple flying machines collecting the ice. Here are the materials that you will need in order to build a single section. Now, the glazed terracotta can of course be any color that you want, and the slime could always be exchanged for honey, and you will need silk touch to harvest the ice. The first thing to talk about is where to build this farm. It needs to be in a cold biome, so like a snowy mountain or an ice spike, basically anywhere that has snow. You can double check this by placing down some water and waiting to see if it will freeze. If it freezes, you are good. The build area is 7 blocks wide and as long as you want it to be within simulation distance. So if you're playing on default simulation, don't build this longer than like 64 blocks. It'll be 16 blocks tall and you can't have anything above this farm or the ice won't freeze. We're going to start off on the side that we want our on-off switch to be, and we're going to go up by 13 blocks. And we're going to place a stair on the 13th block so that there are 12 blocks of air between the stair and the floor. The first side will have 4 stairs, then we'll curve in by 5 stairs, then curve back over by 4. So 4, then 5, then 4, like so. Now next to this last one, we're going to go all the way across as long as you want the farm to be. Then wherever the end is, we're going to go over by 3 more stairs, then in by 3, then back over by 3. So when we're done, we'll have 4 stairs, then 4 stairs going in, then 4 stairs going out, cutting out a perfect square from the corner. Then we're just going to connect these all together, so you'll end up with this. So now on the side that has a perfect square cut out of the corner, we're going to go up by 2 temporary blocks right there, place a piston facing toward the inside. So that piston is right here, aligned with that corner. Then 3 blocks next to the piston, 1 block next to those on the end, then a block of obsidian, a temporary block next to that, so that we can place an observer facing down, diagonally up from the obsidian. Make sure that observer is facing down, and that that block is in fact obsidian. It has to be obsidian. Now we need 2 repeaters right here on a max delay, facing toward the piston, then redstone dust on top of everything else. And remember that this side is 4 by 4 by 4, whereas the cutout on the other side is 4 by 5 by 4. But above this corner, we're going to place a temporary block and a piston facing toward the inside, holding 5 blocks of slime in this sort of U-shaped pattern. Then obsidian diagonally from the piston, glazed terracotta in the center, a sticky piston facing toward the front, and an observer facing away. Now under here, on this left side, we need to place 1 regular piston facing down. So it should be right there above that first corner block of air. Then on the other side of this piston, we need an observer facing away, so that observer will send power to that piston. Then on this other side, above the stairs, we need to place a temporary block so that we can place 3 observers facing away, 1 block above the 3 leftmost stairs. Then 4 slime in an L shape, a glazed terracotta in the center, and a sticky piston facing away from the slime. Then down here, under the slime, we need to place 2 regular pistons facing down that are diagonally down from the back observers. So this is what your flying machine should look like. But now we need a solid block beside this obsidian next to this piston. Then diagonally down from that, we need to go back by 3 blocks, then over by 2, so that these connect to these observers over here. Now we need an observer that is looking at those 3 observers, like so. Then this new observer will power a comparator, so face away and place a subtraction mode comparator. Make sure it's on subtraction mode. Then 2 redstone dust and a repeater on a 2-tick delay, so poke that repeater 1 time. And that's it for the flying machine. Now right here in the center, we need to place lower slabs all the way across to split this platform into 2. Now we need to place a temporary platform in all of the holes. So 1 block under all of the holes diagonally down from the stairs and the slabs on every single part, like so. Now we need to flood every single stair and every single slab going all the way around. You can make an infinite water source up here on this platform and then just pull from that. But we need water on every stair and every slab. And once you're done, it should start freezing. Now all that's left is to make an on-off lever. So go over here and place a piece of glass right there with a repeater facing into the side of that comparator. Then place another block diagonally down from the glass, then another one extending off of that, dust next to the glass, then an observer facing away on this other block. Then we can break out that block so that we are left with this. Now we need a tower of blocks in front of the observer, so that when we place a block in front of the observer, it will then activate the flying machine, which will start moving and pushing down the ice. And this tower only needs to extend one block above the observer, so that we can place a block next to the repeater, like so, then a block on top of the observer. Now break out the block that the observer is looking at, and place a redstone torch. Then 3 dust here on the top, and this should turn off the flying machine. So when the flying machine reaches this side, the comparator will be locked so it will not activate, so it will stop. Now we need to place a lever, so we just need to break out every other block and switch it with a torch, like so, going all the way down. Then once we're down here, just place a lever on the side of the bottom block, and this will be our on-off lever. So if the lever is off, the comparator will be on, and if the lever is on, the comparator will be locked. And that's it. It should now fully work. However, if you want to build multiples of these next to each other to make even more ice, that is super duper easy. All we have to do is duplicate everything we just built to either the left or to the right of this current platform. So again, wherever we have our cutouts is where we're going to have our cutouts on this section. So the front side, the side with the on-off switch, will have a cutout that is 4 by 5 by 4. Then the other side will have the cutout that is 4 by 4 by 4. So just duplicate everything that we have just built on one side or the other. Everything will be exactly the same. Now I will say that it's always best to extend this in length rather than making more flying machines. So before you add more flying machines, simply extend it as far as you can, so like 64 blocks on sim distance 4. But if you do build multiple flying machines, we want to connect them all to the same lever, and that is super duper easy. All we have to do is add blocks up here to connect all of the repeaters together, then add dust on top of these blocks, and if you need to, you can always add repeaters to refresh the signal, but you would have to build several flying machines to actually need to refresh the signal, so you probably just need dust. Now for this bottom section, all we have to do is connect all of this dust together, and that's why we used a glass block underneath the repeater, so that we can go down by 1 block right here, and the glass won't pinch the dust. So we can just run the dust underneath this glass block, and it won't pinch the dust. That's the only reason we use glass underneath the repeater. So just connect all of these together on the top and on the bottom, so that all of the bottom dust is triggered by that observer, and all of the top dust is toggled by the topmost torch. Now one really important thing, as with all flying machines, you do not want to log out or leave the area while they are running, and you do not want them to go outside of simulation distance. If they do, at the bare minimum they'll stop, but at the worst case they will break and the pistons will be in the wrong place, and you'll have to go in here and break some ice and break the pistons and replace them to where they are supposed to be. Now to restart it, if it just stops, all you have to do is place a button on the face of one of the observers next to the sticky pistons. Just depending on which direction the flying machine was traveling, it will then start up again. And you may have noticed that you will need to break the blocks that you placed as your platform. However, before you do this, you never want to break the blocks directly under the platform, because it'll create a waterfall, and then that water can no longer freeze. And if the water flows under the stairs, even if you plug the hole, you will be left with a waterfall that you will have to place and break a block to get rid of. So what I would recommend is your topmost mining platform should have 8 blocks of air in between the stairs and where you are standing. This will prevent you from ever breaking the topmost ice. But aside from having silk touch, how you mine this is really up to you. You could use scaffolding, you could use platforms, you could mine it from the top or from the bottom. But I would recommend not mining this while standing on ice, because that will slow you down. I would also recommend building your platforms out of something that is not easy to break with a pick. I tend to default to blocks of nether wart, or the green nether leaves, whatever they're called, because they're hard to break with a pick and easy to collect. And we'll never have any ice here in the center under the slabs, so you could always build another platform in here if you think that's easiest. You know, really how you mine this is all up to your personal preference. I experimented with several different things while I was designing this. I started off with a 5-wide platform and nothing in the center, but then I realized that no ice ever will freeze in the center. Apparently ice needs a nucleator, just like it does in real life. But if we stick a row of blocks in the center, that really speeds up how fast the ice forms. But if we use solid blocks, since they can't be flooded, that actually slows it down a bit because sometimes the water disappears. So flooded slabs in the middle of a 5-wide area seems to be the fastest way for us to harvest ice. But let me know down in the comments what you're planning on using your ice for. Are you planning on crafting pack ice or blue ice to make nether highways, or are you making a mob farm? I actually just designed a creeper farm that uses ice as the mechanic, so stay tuned for that. It's been a highly requested video, but I've always dragged my feet on it because creeper farms are a lot of work for really low rates. But we'll talk more about that in the video. If you're interested, be sure to check that out. But that's all we got for this one, so thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, share, and subscribe. And be sure to leave a comment. If you have any questions or requests, I will do my best to help you out. Or if you don't know what to say, just tell me hi. I would love to hear from you. Always remember that you are totally awesome. But I've been your host, Amaledu, sharing a Minecraft farm with you. And reminding you, as always, don't forget to have fun. Bye-bye.